Well, hello there everyone and welcome to another video over here on Anton's hardware channel. Now today I'm not going to talk about any sound card or any video card. I'm going to talk to you about what's inside these two motherboards. And before we start, I would like to thank Mission for providing me with this motherboard and the processor that came with it. It's an i5-5660 and I was really curious on how well does this this system perform these days. Back in the days this was more or less of a system that anyone would use and was very popular. It isn't the best CPU of the series, but it's sort of mainstream. So I was wondering, how does it perform these days and can you still game on it? And while I was preparing for that video, I also got a motherboard from my good friend Gert, or Gert as you say in Dutch. I wanted to thank him for providing me with this motherboard. Now both of the sockets for the CPU, so that's the i5-660 and the i7-920, both of the sockets were designed to replace the older LGA 775. Now the older 775 needed a north bridge to communicate with all the different components on the system. So the north bridge was also integrated, hence it needed more pins, going from 775 to, for instance, 1156 or even 1366. The 1366, because of its triple channel support, was intended more for light serverish workstation usage, whereas the dual channel, or the 1156 CPU, was intended more for home use, for gaming and all those kind of things. Now both of the CPUs that are on these motherboards, they didn't perform that well, as was sort of expected. The 660 is comparable nowadays to the AMD FX 4300, which I made a video about a bit earlier, and I thought was a pointless CPU last year because it was still being sold and the performance was really bad. They sold it as a quad core, but it was basically a dual core with hyper-threading, or SMT as AMD calls it, enabled. So that's not really a quad core, as was the 660, which is a dual core with hyper-threading enabled. If we go over to the i7-720, the performance is about the same as the Intel as the AMD 1055T, which was sort of similar, but that one has only 6 cores. Now these, their sun is coming through. All those CPUs, the scores aren't really good. They aren't up for gaming. So I was really excited to see how well does it perform when you're going to gaming. Now this is Assassin's Creed Origins at the lowest settings. And I was just wondering, will this game play with an 1080 Ti in the system? And as you can see, there's it's not gameable 34, and I tried to get it on a higher setting just because I can, and I wanted to find out. And here is average settings. The graphics have improved, but the FPS is not getting any better. And at this moment we'll also change to ultra settings about nowish, and this is at ultra settings and the FPS is dropping even further. So Assassin's Creed Origins, although I know it's an AA title or AAA title, but you will not be able to play this game. So what about the Division 2? This is at the lowest settings. And it is, it's not in the playable range, but it also goes down all the way to 40. Even if it was 45 to 50, I would say it would be playable-ish, with the emphasis on ish. I wouldn't recommend it, but this isn't playable. This is too much stuttering, and as you can see in the graphs, the GPU is practically doing nothing, and the CPU is doing most of the work. So there's nothing really to do for the video card. Now those scores were consistent with all of the benchmarks that I did. I did 3D Mark Fire Spy, I did Time Spy, I also did Valley and of course the Origins and the Division. I also did Attila Total War, and all of them showed that these CPUs aren't able to play games. Well, maybe if you do something really simple, it may be able to play them, but well, still. There was one small exception, and that was consistent with earlier tests that I did, and that was when I played the Division 2 and I set it to DirectX 12. Now DirectX 12 was intended to make better use of the graphics card and the CPU to offload some of the tasks that were done by the CPU off to the video card to make it, well, more playable. And that's also what you see. You can get a, well, 58 FPS on medium settings DirectX 12 in the Division 2 on the i7-920, not on the i5-660, but because you will still get about 43 FPS. So, just to give a real, well, short recap, can you game on either of these machines? Well, you cannot on the, well, what was expected, the i5-660. That's just no way you can game these days on a dual core with hyper-threading enabled. It's just too slow. It doesn't, well, provide the GPU with enough information to let the GPU do anything, and it's not cool. Don't use it. If you have one, get a new system. If you have a system with the i7-920, maybe, this is just a maybe, you should look around and see if you could get something second-hand. Maybe there is a bit better one, like a 980 or 97 CPU. You should consider buying that, but I've already looked on eBay and, well, on other sites, second-hand sites, and those CPUs are really expensive. So my recommendation, invest your money in a completely new system, sell yours online, and maybe get a better AMD Ryzen system, because the price performance is really good. Even if it's one of the 2000 series, you should definitely consider one of those. So that's it for me for today. Please leave a like, don't forget to subscribe, and next video will be about a sound card. At least that's what I hope.